just I gotta. Oh, there it is. Hello there. This is Kyle Krueger, writer, voice actor, and director, and here we're gonna talk about something important. With me is my guest star, Daniel Alvin. Sorry, I can't pronounce the last name.
Don't worry about it. Just call me Daniel.
All right. So, if anybody doesn't know about me, I'm a huge Ruby fan, and Daniel and I are going to talk about some Ruby and some wrestling and other stuff.
All right.
Okay. What's your favorite Ruby character?
The characters from Ruby, I have to say I kind of have a soft spot for Jean.
Yeah, I love Sean. He's probably the most relatable character in the series.
I kind of, what I found fascinating with the whole, as the series progressed, is he starts off as almost like the punchline to a side character joke, and quickly became his own character with all the stuff he's been through and his relationships to the actual main characters, to the point where he's almost a main character himself.
Right. Okay. Have you ever like wanted to make your own Ruby stuff, like your own Ruby OC, your own Ruby story?
I've thought about it, but I never actually had a chance to sit down and think, my character, his fighting style, and the weapon combination. I never had a chance to actually sit down and do that.
Oh, well, I have a character.
Oh, shoot, tell me.
His name's Derek Sheen. He's Wise's other brother. He's very muchly, he's a nice kid. He's nice to everybody. He's flawed, but so is everybody. But he just has a really tragic story.
Mm-hmm.
He had 4 friends that really cared about him. They've been friends for 5 years, and they all died at one day. And, he had survivor's guilt because of that.
Wow, you really put a lot of work into this one.
Derek, he is very muchly, this really, it's just that when he was beaten up by these 3 thieves who also killed his friends, and he had to be in a hospital for 3 years in his life, and it was like the most miserable things in his life,
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really cared about him except Winter. He felt like Winter was the only person that really did after that.
Yeah, I like where this is going so far.
He doesn't really give a crap about his dad because he hates his dad. He wishes he was dead. He thinks his dad is just this real... He feels like his dad is this really... He represents everything that's wrong with being a rich person. Like, he represents...
You and just about every fan of Ruby, yeah.
And he feels like his mom is a spineless coward that doesn't do anything right, and he feels like his mom is useless. And he has a harsh relationship with Wise because Wise was never there for him.
Mm-hmm.
But, Winter's like a mom to him, an actual mom.
Okay.
Winter really cares about Derek. He's strict with him, but you can understand why, and, she does care about him. And, it's just, there is a scene in my story where, Derek meets with Team Ruby when they're reunited, and the third fort of Team Juniper, and, Sun and Winter, and, they all, become this one giant team together, and Derek is sort of, the guy that's not a huntsman. He will become later, but it's the 4-year anniversary of his friends dying, and it is real. He's very emotional. 1 minute he's happy, 1 minute he's just really pissed off and angry, 1 minute he's just sad and just depressing and just... Yeah, it's just...
Okay.
And Wise being, she really does care about Derek. She needs to tell them why Derek is upset, and she tells her whole friends about what happened to Derek. She's not doing it to be insensitive, she's just doing it because she really cares about Derek, and she just wants other people to understand where he's going from.
Okay.
But when Derek finds out, he gets really mad at Wise for telling that.
Okay, yeah, I like that you had this character all fleshed out. Let me ask some questions. What kind of does Derek use a weapon?
Yeah, he does. he has a sword. It's called the LaRouche. It's named after WCW wrestler Lash LaRouche.
Okay.
He has sort of this. He becomes a huntsman to get over the whole pain and suffering from his friends, and So back onto the whole, like, do you want to ask more questions?
Yeah, sure. Please allow me. What is it about Ruby that really captures your imagination more than, say, most other shows?
I think it represents how we can all have our ideas and be used for good and stuff like that.
I came into Ruby because I was a Rooster Teeth fan. I grew up with Red versus Blue, and when I found out that Monty God rest his soul, finally got a green light to make his own anime-inspired series, I was immediately in. Like I didn't know what the plot was. I was intrigued by the trailers, and I watched the first episode. And I've been in ever since.
I think it's more I actually agree with that. I saw it from a reviewer, and he got me into it. So
I think what's fascinating about Ruby is that it started off as a homage to anime, and now it's grown to the point where it's now being premiered in Japan. We have actual Japanese voice actors in it. There's actual Japanese merchandise. Like, if the creator was still around, honestly, like, the sheer amount of goodwill towards this show is overwhelming.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, so back onto the Derek story. Sorry about that.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Derek gets really pissed off at Wise. Like, he scolds her. Like, he said, like, he shows her a scar. Like, when I was talking to my friend Blake, and she says, why don't you have the scene where, like, Derek tells Wise about how he felt, how he's trying to tell Wise what it's like to lose somebody, or in fact for people. He says this. You know what he says, you know what this scar represents? It represents everything I lost, everything I have. And guess what? That is something you will never understand, because you don't know what it's like to lose anybody except yourself.
All right, we got it.
I know, I was in character. That's one of my...
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I was just being too loud, I'm sorry.
It's fine. I lowered my headphones. Don't worry about it.
Sorry, it's just that... it's just... So, like, Derek tells Wise that she doesn't understand. She will never understand. She's nothing but a spoiled brat, and she only if she was more emotional and she would not be so cold to everybody, she would actually understand. And Wise, she gets really sad because she didn't mean to cause this like, she didn't mean to put, like, something like that to Derek. She didn't mean to do that. And so Derek runs off, realizing that he has made a horrible mistake by getting mad at everybody. And he talks to himself. He becomes his own counselor. He says that if you're going to get over it, you need to change. Not be yourself, but you have to change physically. And that's where the whole Huntsman thing shows up. And, like, it's just that, and then, like, the later, like, episode, like, the later stories of my whole Ruby thing is mostly that Derek is trying to be a huntsman, but he has a hard time becoming one.
The classic struggle of the training, yes.
I don't get, I sometimes it's hard to make a story like that, and, like, Derek, like, there are moments where Derek feels like he's a weakness to everybody. He goes like this. Sometimes I just feel like maybe Yang and the others just don't need me anymore. Do you think there's potential with Derek? Well,
the only potential that you should be concerned about is, like, if you're the one, as the writer, if you're the one enjoying yourself, if you're writing the story you want to write, that's all that matters, really. If you're the one having fun, other people will see it and say, you know what, I'm in the twist too.
All right, that it actually does. What do you think is okay? So there's also like this story where Derek loses Winter, like passes away, and Derek has to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Derek does have an anger, but you have to understand that his anger comes from the right reasons. He's either
Yeah.
letting something get the better of him, or he's trying to he's mad, but he's trying to be a voice of reason. He's trying to make people understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's this one story where John is so mad that she lost Freya, and he blames everybody, and Derek is trying to tell John that you're not the only one who misses her, but John is not listening because he's full of anger and guilt to the point that John accidentally crosses the line with Derek, saying that the difference between Freya was that other people caused her death, but with Derek's death, it's more of it was his fault.
Yeah, that's a line you don't want to cross too early.
Right, but it's more right, but Derek does get mad at John, but it's more understandable.
And he manages to control himself.
Right, but he doesn't snap. He doesn't punch him. He doesn't, he
control himself.
Yeah, he that's something he has with why she can't control herself, but with Derek he can control himself. He can control.
So it sounds like Derek is really starting to come to his own, moving on and being able to control his emotions rather than letting his emotions run him.
Right, and with Derek, he just runs off. How when people cry they run off.
Yes.
Well, that's what Derek does, and see, I want to give Derek this relationship with Yang, and let me give you something. It's going to be progression. It's not going to be your OC falls in love with somebody. Oh, it's that's not a good idea. One of those stories. I hate people like that. They're not going to give the OC dating the actual character thing. I just hate that. Just give it a chance. If you don't like it, that's fine. But just don't get mad at the people for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to say your own. Did you wanted to say something?
No, I'm just still listening.
All right, so so Derek he feels like he's not good for Yang. He feels like he's not physically stronger. He feels like he's just a weakness to Yang. But Yang doesn't see that. She sees him as a part of the team. But it's hard. It's just.
Well, I can tell you put a lot of work into character.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a few questions about Derek then. Based on Derek, is there a chance, a lot of people when they make OCs, they put a bit of themselves into their OCs. Would you say that's kind of a fair assumption with Derek?
Yeah.
There's a bit of yourself in Derek.
Yeah, I know what it's like to lose somebody. I know what it's like to let my emotions get the best of me. I know what it's like to have depression. I know what it's like to have those things because I had bad experiences like this before.
Yeah, no, it's important. It's fine. It's fine to draw experiences make stories based on your own experiences.
Right. So what's another question?
So how long have you been writing the story of Derek Schnee?
Oh, since 2014, since I was a Vegas kid.
Since you were a Vegas kid, so roughly around 2014. Was that around maybe the second season starting?
It was.
I might be a little off with the
Yeah, it was.
Okay, and you've been writing ever since.
Right. My original Derek story was more of a slice of life story, but I felt like with Ruby, they can do slice of life stories, but I feel like they have to focus more on both the action and the slice of life presentation rather than one or the other. So my original story was crap.
I mean, we all gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, I changed the story a lot back in 2016.
So is this something that you post on like a fan fiction on net or something like that?
No, I don't because I'm not really. I'm more of an ideas guy, but I'm trying. My friends are trying to help me with the whole putting my ideas on paper thing.
Okay, so right now you're just kind of playing it out and waiting till you get the confidence to put it down on words.
Right. So I also want to. All right. So I also felt like, yeah, there's actually a funny story about this whole Derek thing. It's actually one time I was a little too confident. I was a huge Ruby fan, and I wanted to be a writer, and I had the help of my cousin Osman, my cousin Gabby, and one of my best friends, Laughing Lotus Cosplay. She's an awesome cosplayer.
Okay.
You're gonna think this is stupid.
Try me.
Okay. I wanted to send my ideas to Rooster Teeth. You know why? Because I was a huge fan, and I was passionate and stuff like that. And
okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to share it with the creators. I think what's important is you temper your expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's best to not expect like, hey, we love it, we're gonna anime right now. But if they read it, great. If they don't, you did what you could do.
Can I admit that there's just don't judge me about this, but here's the thing.
Please
I put my head up too high up. You know why? Because I put so much effort into that thing. I know the original story I sent was crap, I will admit that. But back then I put effort and I sent my ideas. I waited and 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 no reply.
It's best to not expect anything from that because, again, they are a multimedia company, and let's be honest, like the writers, especially Miles Luna and Carrie Shawcross, they can't respond to every piece of fan work that they're submitted to.
I know that now, but back then I was being naive and stupid and
yeah. No, come on, we're all like that when we were kids.
And God, I was sad. You know why? Because for the first time in my life, I put hard work and dedication into something. But guess what? It felt like I'm not mad at Rooster Teeth. You know why? Because I look up to them. Yeah. I don't know who I was mad at. I was mad at myself for taking that risk, or I was just mad at life because I have a lot of bad experiences in life, and I felt like this was just another... it was not another, hey, dude, we're not gonna throw you a bone. We're just gonna give you more misery. Like that. It was like that. But
it's important to, especially now that you're older, like, you look back and you look at that work and you just think to yourself, I made that. That is me. That no one else can say, they can claim to that. That's something that came from my head, and that's something to at the very least be proud of.
And then we get to this, man. It's just... I was so depressed because, I felt like my heroes just, didn't want to reply, and that hurt, and I dwelled on that, and I didn't mean to. It's just...
You can't help what you feel.
It's just that, and I'm scared to tell them, you know why? Because if I tell them, think about if you were, a writer, if you had a fan, and you accidentally hurt them. They didn't hurt me on purpose. It's just that... I don't know what to say, man. I just, I'm scared to hurt them because of my hurt.
No. If anything, they'll appreciate the fact that what they will look at is that they created something that is so important to people that they feel the need to share with the others. That's what, if I was a content creator, if I was in their shoes, I'd be more impressed with the fact that, hey, we created something that broke open imagination in the next generation. That's what they should be proud of. And yeah, it's true, they can't reply to everything, but they have to take comfort in that.
Just that I have these weird, I'm scared of that, I'm scared. I'm also...
Understandable.
But I just don't want them to feel like they hurt me. In reality, they didn't do it on purpose. It's just, I just wanted to reply, but I need to learn that you can't get anything you want.
Rather, it's not so much you can't get anything you want, but it's important to temper expectations. Right. That's the key lesson here.
And so, right, and I was, it's just, so you want to know what my reaction to Monty dying? It was not a good day.
I prefer not to dwell on tragedy in the past. We all felt something, and whether or not for you to share, it's not something that I really feel the need to share, but I'm not going to stop you.
It's just that I look up to Monty. He was so creative, and seeing one of your heroes passing away, it's just I just feel bad. It's just, he didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves it.
No one deserved it.
It's just, I wish I could have met him, but it's too late, man.
But the thing is, his work is still moving on.
Right, and, it's just that, God,
They say no one's really forgotten until if you got something that people are talking about after you got it.
Right, and I'm not going to be mad. I look up to Rooster Teeth. I'm not going to be mad at them for not using my ideas. It's just that next time if I send something to somebody, I'm just going to lower my expectations and just stuff like that.
Well, just let what happens.
So also with another thing about Derek you're gonna like is that he cares about everybody. He cares about he does get mad, but it's understandable. Like he's a little bit sad sometimes, but he lost people. That argument with John, it's more of trying to reflect on something you did. It's more on it's more on see, when Derek does have a mature side, and Derek is trying to tell John that you cannot blame everybody for why she's dead. Do not do that. What is the point of blaming somebody if you're going to do nothing with it? And he also says, why do you think you're the only important person in Preya's life? What about her family? What about her other friends? Do you feel like you're the only one who misses her? And then he says this, why can't you get that through that head of yours that you're not the only one who misses somebody? It's just that he's not trying to be a jerk to John. He's just trying to give John a reality, kick in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Can we let's talk about some other things about Ruby that
Sorry.
Yeah. As much as I want to hear about your OC, but I kind of want to talk about other aspects of Ruby.
Right.
Throughout the 4th season so far, what have been some of your favorite moments in Ruby?
A lot. I can't narrow them down. I'm sorry.
Who would you say is your favorite character then?
Yang. Because I think she's a good role model. I look up to her. I actually look up to her voice actress Barbara Dinkelman, who's awesome.
Dunkelman.
I can't pronounce things right.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's just that it's just that it's awesome. It's just that it's cool. It's just that I think with Derek, he sees that confident side in Yang, and that's why I put that there. When you sing with Yang, you see. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, with Yang, I just want to mention something. I really did enjoy this latest season. Her growth and development from the tragedy that happened in the last season to where she is now. I really did. I enjoy the dynamic with her and her father.
Right, and it's just right, and things like that's really cool things about that, and yeah, it's just another thing about that is that she's sort of like this cool person you want to hang out with, even if she's at her lowest point. She's always going to be there for you no matter what.
Yeah.
And, favorite parts of life.
Excuse me?
My favorite one of my favorite things about Ruby is that its animation starts off rough, but it gets better and better and better.
Yes. And do you remember the days of the first season when the background characters were simply black shadows?
Yeah, it's just that it was trying to be new. I can relate to that.
It was a new project by Richard Teeth. Of course, it's gonna take it some time to grow.
Yeah, it's just so okay. So, do you have a favorite anime?
Favorite anime, man. Okay? So I'm very old school in my taste because I grew up in the heyday of the anime back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So a lot of my favorite ones are going to be stuff from that time. But I do have some favorite ones. It really depends, if you're going to ask me that question, what I'm in the mood for. So if I'm in for comedy, if I'm in the mood for action, it's hard to really pick one.
Okay, so I have my favorite anime is Cowboy Bebop.
Good choice.
My other favorite animes are One Piece. My favorite, I like Kinnikuman. If you don't know, it's a wrestling theme anime.
Yeah, Kinnikuman, Muscle Buster. Yeah, it's the wrestling anime.
Yeah, it's.
I watched it all the time on the Fox Box.
You want to know? It's one of the only 4Kids dubs that doesn't suck.
It was entertaining.
Right, it's just that
it knew what it was.
All right, and they just had fun with it for the first time. Four Kids for once did something right. But
Mm-hmm.
that's and my other favorite animes are Yu Yu Hakusho, Digimon, mostly Adventures in Tamers. I did
Mm-hmm.
like the Pokemon anime. I'm more of a fan of the first two generation parts of the anime. It's not
Mm-hmm.
because the anime sucks. There's good moments. It's just I felt like it would have been much better if they led into a different direction. I understand some
Fair
people don't
enough.
like change, but I felt like in the Generation 3 part of the anime, they should have focused on somebody else other than Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ash retires as the main character in the first two generations, and maybe we can focus on maybe Brock or May as the main character for like half of a series, and it would have been much better. That's just my opinion.
Fair enough. If I have to go with mine, then some of my favorites are Cowboy Bebop. I think it's safe to say there's a lot of people's favorites. One of the ones that comes to mind when I think of favorites is there's this comedy anime called Cromartie High School, and it is full of the most deadpan, witty humor that I actually can only watch dubbed now. Because the delivery by the voice actors in that show is probably one of my favorite works in terms of like they knew what they got, they knew they had a silly anime, and they just ran with it.
It's all right. I have a favorite voice actor,
Go ahead.
Laura Jill Miller. If you don't know, she's the voice of Kari from Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
She's also the voice of June from The Life and Time of Juniper Lee. She's the voice of Lisa from The Loud House. If you haven't watched The Loud House, you have to watch it. It is one of Nickelodeon's strongest shows.
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch on various websites.
It's awesome. You're also going. She's an amazing voice actress, and I look up to her. In fact, I send her a lot of fan art.
Uh-huh.
She's awesome. My other favorite voice actor is Scott McNeil. You probably better know him as the voice actor for Piccolo in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z, aka the non-Funimation dub of
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball. He was very good as Piccolo. He's also one of the funniest people on the planet.
As you know.
Yeah, he goes in conventions, like, he's just a really goofy guy, and, like, he wears this awesome cowboy hat, even though he's, like, Canadian and stuff, and, it's just that he's just so awesome and stuff.
Okay. And we're talking about voice actors. I guess maybe it's in the old school in me, but top of the list right there is Stephen Bloom.
Oh, Steve Bloom. I have met Steve Bloom.
You say, oh, wow, yeah, really nice guy in real life.
Yeah, he is. I actually showed him my Guilmon voice. It goes something like, Guilmon bread.
Oh, not bad. Very good.
He loved it. I also told him that, that he's awesome and amazing. It's just, meeting him was like meeting an awesome dude. It was like meeting somebody you look up to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm also a fan. I also love all 5 members of the cast of Teen Titans. They are amazing, okay. And I'm a huge fan of all of them. Like oh man, like, so what do you have? So what do you think is Rooster Teeth's most best thing about them?
I would say that as a company that started off as 4 dudes fucking around. Can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. As 4 guys like fucking around with an Xbox and making a dumb movie out of it, and now they turn into a multimedia company that has 3 separate conventions, makes feature films, makes animations, makes live action shows. It's almost, to me, Rooster Teeth is a great example of the American dream put into action, where it's just a guy with an idea and a bunch of his friends, and now he runs a company.
That's really cool, man. I think I really love about how they really care about their fans. They're not just some idiot company, that does it for the, they're doing it for fun, and like, I like how they care about their fans, and, that's, it's just, that's cool,
Mm-hmm. I think they exemplify the power of what the internet can do with its overreach, because it just spreads so quickly from one guy in Microsoft seeing the first Red versus Blue episode, and now, bam, 11 seasons later. No, wait, I'm sorry, 14 seasons later.
Yeah, there's actually I actually have a show idea. It's based off a Kamen Rider series.
All right, give me your pitch. I'm the executive. Give me a pitch.
All right, there is a guy named Osman Stasiak. He is a baby that sadly survived the plane crash, but his parents haven't. He was taken in by a tribe of people from the Amazonian jungles of South America.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? He is sort of like Tarzan, except, well, he doesn't talk, and actually he doesn't talk for the most of his life. But back then, see, a shaman in the village by the name of Toporoso was a shaman. He went to America to visit there, to know their culture, because he's been to America so many times. However, he was introduced by the Kamen Riders, the first 5 riders, which were 1, 2, V3, Riderman, and X. They were insect-themed heroes that rode bikes. And he decided, do you know what he said? My tribe needs a hero, and we need to make one. And we need to make our own Kamen Rider. But it was not going to be based off an Amazon. It was not going to be based off an insect. It was going to be based off the 3 most important animals of their tribe. An iguana, a chameleon, and a piranha.
Interesting.
And guess what? They decide to use the magic powers of a gift they use to use on Kamen Rider Amazon. However, there was 3 organizations. They were called the Trios. The Trios are, well, like I said, 3 organizations into one organization, wanted to use that magical MacGuffin to take over the world and destroy it, to make it into their own way. However, something happened. Gorgas, the leader of the first organization, killed the village. During his dying words, the old man gave the powers of the Amazon to Osman for being a loyal member and for trying to protect the village from Gorgas' evil. He must now go to go to Los Angeles, California, which is America, to stop Gorgas and the other 2 organizations from taking over America and the other countries. Once in L.A., she is met by a man named Tali. She's once met by a girl named Tali, who is a nice girl and now becomes Amazon's roommate. Osman stays with her and learns how to live as a normal American. He also has.
Alright, so I'm gonna cut you off right there. So I got a few questions in terms of a pitching thing.
Right.
Is this gonna be an animated show?
No, it's gonna be. You know how Power Rangers is like. Well,
live action, got it.
Live action with Japanese stock footage.
Okay.
But
just curious.
Right. Once he also meets his mentor, Toby Tachibana, or in this case, Toby Zimmerman. Toby is the mentor of the first 5 riders I mentioned, and he is here to mentor our main character. And he also has a sidekick named Zoppo, aka Mole Beastman. Osman is vigilant, ready to call on his powers to become Kamen Rider Amazon.
Okay. I'd order a pilot.
Well, I'm trying to make one with my friends since I live in Cedar City, Utah. It's not easy making a pilot.
Just gotta try.
Well, see, there's the thing. See, Kamen Rider Amazon, the original series, is from 1974. And I can't use the stock footage from there or the costumes because they're dated. I wouldn't say they're terrible because for a 70s tokusatsu show, they look nice. But, man, does it look dated, the footage. So I have to make my own footage.
Okay. Some ways that sounds much more appealing.
And it's also going to be 50 episodes.
Wow.
Well, the first season of Power Rangers was 60 episodes, so that's not bad. And I'm also going to pitch as the Warner Brothers.
And Godspeed.
So, if you want to be a voice actor in my show, if it gets pitched, then I can make you a voice actor in my show.
I'll keep my schedule open.
You can either voice, let's say, there's this Snail Beastman or some other Beastman. That's what the name of the monsters are, Beastmen, in the original show, in my show. There's only dream plant monster themed Beastmen, and that's Flower Beastman, Bush Beastman, and Mushroom Beastman. I know mushroom is not technically a plant, but I see it as one.
Yeah.
So, I also am a huge fan of wrestling.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite wrestler?
Okay, let's specify here. Are we gonna go with modern or
all time?
Oof, tough call right there. So, I grew up with the Attitude Era, so let's see. As a kid, my favorite all time was actually my favorite was Kane. Back when he was the Big Red Machine.
Kane has a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the few guys back from that era who's still kicking it with the young guys. I mean, I respect that.
It's just that, yeah, he's really intelligent.
Oh no, I'm well aware. He's a smart man running for office in his hometown. I wish him the best of luck.
Do you know what I would say? Still a better president than Trump.
Possibly.
Yeah, but so my favorite wrestler is Sting. You know why? Because Sting. Because Sting is.
Sting? Are we talking classic surfer Sting or black and white Sting?
I want to say both, but you gave me a choice, so I'm going to say Crow Sting.
Black and white Sting. Crow's okay.
Sting is the king of WCW. He's the leader of WCW. He's like the guy who represents everything you like. Yes, I will admit Sting did not save the company when the Vince Russo incident, when Vince Russo became WCW. Here's a note of fact, people who watch this podcast: never, ever, ever let Vince Russo book anything. Sorry.
I swear to God, bro, I have a great idea for a match. It's going to be a Sting on a pole match. We're going to put Sting's makeup on the pole. We're going to have Sting. We're going to have fake Sting. We're going to have Hulk Hogan. And we're going to have him fight it off. And I will figure to finish out on the fly.
What is this?
Don't call Jim Cornette. I think he wants to beat me up.
Vince Russo's... do you want to say to Vince Russo?
What do you want to say, bro? Tell it to my face, bro.
I know all the New Yorkers in the world. Why get stuck with the dumb one? Well, he's not intelligent.
Well, bro. You know the Attitude Era? That was me. That was all me. That was me, Vince Russo.
You didn't invent it. Stone Cold did.
No, I'm pretty sure I did. I am the architect of the Vince Russo Attitude Era.
You know, without the Attitude Era, Crash Holly wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So you didn't make him.
Is Crash in the Hall of Fame?
No, it's just a joke I wanted to make, but
okay.
But seriously, like, Vince Russo's not really smart. Like, everything's a pull-on match. Like, God, can you do anything creative? If you could, like...
Well, bro, I am the master of the swerve, okay? I invented the swerve.
You did not invent anything.
No, that's not true, bro. That's not true. I invented the young bloods.
What? Oh God, this is not.
That nitty WCW, bro. I took all. That's my best friend Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, God. It's just that that was a good impression. If you were at a wrestling convention, you would probably win. But it's just that. So I'm gonna say this, like, Vince Russo has good ideas. It's just execution is his biggest downfall.
Well, what made it good with Vince Russo back in the Attitude Era is that he had great ideas, but it was always filtered to Vince McMahon.
Right, but that's because Vince, say what you want about him as a person. We can all agree Vince is not the best person around.
He's no saint, let's say that.
Right, but at least Vince can call him out. When Vince Russo owned WCW, it's like nobody called him out. Even Eric Bischoff, okay, mixed bag person, but But Eric, I bet $1 million had called Vince out and said, dude, we're not doing this. Dude, we're not doing this. And Vince is like, no, we're doing this. We're doing this. Rather, you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet Eric Bischoff's like, oh my God, why am I with you? And like, okay, so here's what Eric does, in my opinion. So, you know what? Remember that time he put the belt in himself? You know what they should have done? If you wanted a Doherty figure to be your company's champion, I don't blame you. But you gotta do it in a way that's good, you know? They should have just...
Bro, I have a better idea. Let's put the belt on David Arquette.
No, we're putting it on Eric Bischoff. That's what they should have done. They should have put the belt on Eric Bischoff because at least Eric would have represented that belt. Plus, he's the most famous manager in WCW. But nope.
I mean, the man is practically synonymous with WCW management. So,
right, but no, we can't be smart, you know. So, want to know who the only good things about you know what they should have done in WCW? They should have put the belt on somebody else. You know what that was?
Who?
It was either Rey Mysterio. I know he doesn't have the mask, but Rey Mysterio did beat Kevin Nash and Bam Bam Bigelow.
That's true.
Or Norman Smiley because he is a hard worker.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if he could put the belt on David Arquette, why not Norman Smiley?
Norman Smiley would have been a better champion. At least Norman Smiley is respected in the wrestling community. You want to know something cool? He's the godfather of one of Vampiro's kids.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, so tell me, Kyle, who are your favorite modern wrestlers now? Then let's
Damien
talk about
Sandow.
modern times. Huh?
Damien Sandow.
Okay, so it's Sandow.
I'm still mad that they fired him. Sorry.
I mean, he tried in TNA, but it just wasn't working out for him.
No, it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah, that's TNA.
You know, that's no. If this was TNA in their 2002 through 2009 era, this would have been good. But this was during their 2010 era, or this was during their goddamn
2015.
This was during their goddamn Owl phase. I'm still gonna call it the Owl era because it sucks.
Yeah.
So. So Damien Sandow, you know what he did that most people don't do when I'm a wrestling fan?
What?
He has earned my respect.
Okay.
Think about it. It takes a lot of balls, and it takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of glory, and it takes a lot of dedication to earn the fans' respect, and he did that. But guess what? WWE, no. Triple H saw potential in him. Shane McMahon saw potential in him. Vince McMahon, no, he does not see potential in anybody. That's Vince McMahon. He doesn't see anybody, he doesn't see anything in front of him.
You know, a lot of people have asked me, what would it take for WWE to get better? Like, maybe an unpopular opinion here, but for WWE to really change, two things possibly have to happen. Vince McMahon either has to retire or, hate to say it, he has to pass away. Because as long as he's still alive and in power, it's always going to be run his way.
This is why you need to give the keys to your son-in-law.
That's true, but as long as he's alive, I doubt that he's too proud to ever do so.
I know Vince is stubborn, but come on, he's old. Eric Bischoff is retired now. Like, I'm not... Okay, what I meant is that if Eric Bischoff can retire, Vince McMahon can retire. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
I figured, yeah.
It's just... The thing with this guy is that it's just that... You know why Raw is not doing good? It's because... you know, Raw... Here's the thing. If you're going to own a wrestling league, do not have two guys fight over the same title. You know why? It gets boring, and it gets boring. I mean, I love Miz and Dean Ambrose, but they cannot carry that title.
Oh, Miz can, but I think Ambrose is, doesn't need it.
Like, do you know what would have made more sense? Here's what happens. I have a good storyline. Do you know what that is? Dean Ambrose wants to ruin. He wants to make Miz's life miserable, which is obvious because Ambrose is insane as hell. But here's what happens. Kurt Angle gives him the power to have a fatal three-way match.
four-way or a triple threat? Those are two different things.
Triple threat match.
Okay, there you go.
And guess what? He picks Bo Dallas to be the third man. And, like, Bo is happy. And guess what? But Bo is happy, and so is Curtis, and so is Melina. But guess what? Miz is not. Like, he doesn't attack Bo. Like, he's shocked by this. Like, he's not celebrating with the others. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because that's his title. And guess what? When Bo beats the Miz, everybody is happy for him, except Miz. He's jealous. He's mad that one of his entourages is the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting storyline right there.
And guess what? Dean Ambrose doesn't care if he's IC title. All he wants is
to make the Miz miserable.
Yeah, and that makes the Miz miserable. Think about it. When you see him with Damien Sandow and R-Truth or Johnny Mundo, he gets jealous easily.
Yeah.
And also here's also Extreme Rules 2017. There's one word to describe it, and that's it sucks.
It wasn't the best.
It's not worse than Fastlane because it had filler matches, but my God, there was nothing extreme about it.
No, I'd say not.
The pre-show match. Okay, by the way, you should watch Apollo Crews versus Kalisto in the pre-show match. You know why? It was actually a good match. For a pre-show match, it's one of the top 5 best pre-show matches. But here's the thing that happened. There was no extreme matches. The Gender Bender tag team match was alright, but every other match was crap and just horrible. Like, the IC champion match was a joke. Like, why can't you just make it a no disqualification match? Make it a hardcore match. This is Extreme Rules. The women's match was horrible. I feel bad for Bayley. You know what I want to say to Bayley? If I booked Extreme Rules, you would have been the best part about it. But who puts a kendo stick pull on a match? Put the title in the pull. It makes more sense, you know? It's just really.
Nah, bro, we gotta put a kendo stick on a pole match.
It's just the cage match was horrible. How this is like I thought the Fastlane match with Jinder Mahal versus Cesaro was disappointing, but this is like Cesaro's weakest match. You know why? You have the Hardy Boys. You have him and oh my God, Austin Aries versus Neville for the 100th time was not fun. The Fatal 5-Way match, I will give credit, was actually good.
Yeah, at moments.
Just, you want to know something? I hope Samoa Joe takes that title away from Brock Lesnar. You know why? Because
that thing needs to be defended every month.
Exactly. What is the point of having a world champion? I don't care if Vince likes Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's doing nothing. Yeah, he's fighting with Samoa Joe, but what are you doing with him? Nothing.
You know, some of my gripes with today's product. I'm an old school guy. I think I made that perfectly clear. One of the things that annoys me the most in terms of modern WWE, and especially in a pay-per-view match, the champion should always come out last.
Champion?
That's how the champion comes out last in terms of entrances. I've seen way too many matches recently where the champion comes out first, and then the challenger, and what happens then? It's usually the challenger that wins. It bothers me. It's an old school mentality for me.
Right, it's just that. So I rebooked. So want to know something? I rebooked SummerSlam, 1995, and instead of Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels, it's the 1-2-3 Kid versus Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
And 1-2-3 Kid beat Shawn Michaels. Now, my friend told me, well, you can't have Shawn Michaels be beat because, you know, back then he was a politic kind of guy. Well, not anymore. If Shawn Michaels gets beat by Sean Waltman, the 1-2-3 Kid, I bet he wouldn't have a problem with that.
Probably not. It's just his clickmate.
Right, you know? So want to know something else? So when Dean Douglas beats the 1-2-3 Kid, Barry Horowitz, you know, the jobber turned fan favorite in 1995, he beats Barry Horowitz. I mean, he beats Shane Douglas in an episode of Raw. And guess what?
Yeah.
And guess what? Barry says to Dean Douglas, you know, man, I'm gonna say this, but this title feels really good right now. Also, you got your butt kicked by a Jewish guy. How does that feel? Oh wait, let me think about it. Not good. And then he throws the microphone at his face, and like he just shows off to him.
All right.
So I actually have. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually have a cool idea for Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last four. You're gonna like the last four.
It would have been
Cesaro, Heath Slater, Akira Tozawa, and Sami Zayn.
That'd be interesting. Last four.
Yeah, and guess what? Like, Cesaro and Heath Slater are the last final two. And while Heath Slater is not ready to hold the WWE champion, and
in my opinion, Heath Slater is the perfect mid-card guy. He's never a guy to do a main event.
It's not his fault. It's just he's just not built.
It's not a matter of, like, look, here's the thing, guys. Like, not every internet favorite has to be a main eventer. A guy has a role. He fits that role perfectly. There's nothing wrong with him being in that role.
So, alright, so Heath Slater, Heath Slater does not win WWE champion.
Mm-hmm.
But Cesaro wins, so that's a good thing. At least it'll give Cesaro. At least he wouldn't be part of with Sheamus anymore, and at least he would be back to being an awesome main eventer, as he should have been.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
And guess what?
What?
Okay, so Stephanie McMahon does not trust the Raw locker room, all of the Raw locker room, except 4 types of people to win. You know why? Because Stephanie McMahon, as a general manager character, like, she's the most underqualified character to be general manager. We know that, you know that, and like when Stephanie McMahon comes back, like, she only trusts 4 people to do it. The 4 people are Brock Lesnar, because the WWE wants a strong person. Bray Wyatt.
Well, he also draws money.
Bray Wyatt because he was a former WWE champion, and Stephanie McMahon thinks that Bray Wyatt can get back his championship run. And and then we get Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman is a fan favorite. But the 4th person is somebody different.
And that would be
Matt Hardy. But it's not regular Matt Hardy. It's
Broken Matt.
Exactly. Do you know why? Because she's taking advantage of Matt Hardy's broken gimmick. She thinks that if Matt Hardy wins the Royal Rumble, he will do something. In fact, do you know what she said? Hey, if you win the Royal Rumble, we're going to give you your very own pay-per-view. It's going to be called WWE Broken Brilliance. And Matt Hardy agrees, but Matt Hardy doesn't win. In fact, Stephanie McMahon does not trust the other Raw locker room that she pays R-Truth, Bo Dallas, and Heath Slater to not go longer in the Royal Rumble, and they all disagree with her. And like always, when Stephanie McMahon gets disrespected, or when somebody calls her out, she throws a hissy fit, and stuff like that.
All right.
So what happens is that the Rumble starts with R-Truth and Goldust because we have to still bring up the whole Goldust and R-Truth thing. Do I say? Just make them a tag team again. Make them do something. No. Just, sorry, I got a personal beef with them splitting up the Golden Truth. It's just I love them. They were like they were like hot chocolate, except golden hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay. Back then, so they start off with the Royal Rumble, and Asuka is the 3rd woman in the Rumble. And so Heath Slater enters number 11, and Brock Lesnar enters number 21. And guess what? Cesaro just throws Brock Lesnar off with his bare hands.
Wow.
And Brock Lesnar's shocked. Somebody would do that. But guess what? He doesn't attack Cesaro. We're not going to give him a crappy feud. What we're going to do is that when Cesaro wins, he's just going to SmackDown. You know why? Because Cesaro doesn't need Raw. He doesn't need the crappy writing. He doesn't need the crappy storylines. All he needs is the brilliant booking of SmackDown to carry him on.
Yeah.
So who would you win? Who would you want to win the Royal Rumble?
Who would I want to win based on the current roster?
Yeah.
Honestly, like, if it's a Royal Rumble that would lead to a main event that I'm thinking of, I would love it if Nakamura would win the Rumble to face AJ at the main event of WrestleMania. That's me. I share that opinion with like a lot of other people, but hey, if it works, it works.
It's just that Nakamura, he's being booked well, but he needs to be booked better.
Stronger.
Like, stronger. Like, he's booked strong, but he needs to be booked stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also, I also had an idea for a WWE pay-per-view main event. It's Cesaro versus Dolph Ziggler, and he's the champion. You know why? Because his time is done. You know, his time is not overdue. Like, he deserves as the WWE champion. And the third opponent, I'm trying to decide if it's going to be AJ Styles or Jinder Mahal or Kevin Owens. I don't know.
All right, Kyle, I do gotta leave in about like 10 minutes. Is there any other things you want to probably ask me or something like that?
Right. Okay. All right. So, do you like the New Day?
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of the New Day.
I like them, but I'm more of a fan of Kofi Kingston as a serious character.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like their stick gets old, in my opinion. They didn't... do you want to say to WWE, if they're a popular tag team, why didn't you give them a match at WrestleMania 33?
Well, that's because you had the Hardys back.
I know, but it's just that I feel like, I mean, it's not bad to host a WrestleMania, but it's just weird that it's, I mean, it's much better than The Rock hosting WrestleMania 27, but that's not saying much.
Mm-hmm.
And their Final Fantasy tribute, while nice, it could have been better. Just saying. Also, the ice cream bar thing, do you know what I would say? Really, dude? Really? You're gonna do another attack on CM Punk? Okay, fine.
No, I didn't really take it as I didn't take it as an attack on CM Punk. I just think they're just being goofy again, so...
Right, it's just, okay, so, if you ever meet Rooster Teeth, what would you say to them?
If I ever met Rooster Teeth, honestly, just thank you for what you've done. That's all I can... As a fan and me and myself, you know, whenever I meet somebody who makes content I like, I just want to say thank you for what you do. Please keep doing what you're doing, and you have a fan here. I've always been like a simple guy. Because I know that they're busy and they don't want to hear like a big story. So for me, I just want to tell them thank you.
I also want to tell them thank you, and so good news. I'm writing a letter to them, but this time I'm going to tell them about my story, about my experience with not getting a reply. And guess what? You know, I'm not going to I'm going to send it to Bartle Dunkelman or Dinkelman.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, you know why?
Dunkelman.
Because you know, sending it to the whole like Rooster Teeth building is going to be hard and difficult. So I was thinking that maybe sending it to a voice actor for one of them would be a cool idea.
I mean, I wish you the best of luck.
And also, I'm gonna send her the letter about my experience, and I'm gonna make my own separate letter to Barbara Dinkelman and telling her thank you for everything you have done. If I ever become a show creator, you're gonna be on my show.
Okay.
You've been a great guest, and
thank you very much, Kyle.
And hey, man, I hope we can talk on Skype, like not in a podcast, like just like us without the recording.
If it happens, if I'm on Skype, sure. Would you mind if I plug some of my stuff?
Yeah. I hope you have a great day, man.
Okay, so my name is Daniel. I run a podcast and YouTube channel called Press Start to Play. You can find us on Facebook on facebook.com/PS2PLV. You can also find us on Twitch, where we record every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/PS2PLV. You can find links to our YouTube channel. I run a podcast with 4 of my other friends. I'm the Perpetual Player 1. and we talk about games, anime, cosplay, or whatever is nerdy of the week. So I hope you guys thank you for listening to me and Kyle here, and I had a lot of fun.
And also, to any RWBY fan, if you have a serious issue, you can talk to us about it. We're not going to judge. Yeah, sorry about that. It's just since I talked to you about something personal with RWBY, maybe other people can do that.
And Kyle, man. I just want to say thank you for like sharing that with me. I know it must take a lot of courage to share why you fall in love with the series and why you put so much of your time into an OC. I know it's not easy. It's not easy to share that stuff, especially on a podcast. So I understand.
If people want to judge me, that's fine, but that's their problem. Plus,
in the end, though, Kyle, if you're the one who's happy, what's it matter?
Right, and also, to anybody who hasn't watched RWBY on my podcast, you gotta watch it. It's really good. All 4 seasons are on YouTube, and
it's on Netflix. It's on their website. It's on Crunchyroll. There's lots of places to watch it.
Right. So, Daniel, it was fun, and I hope you have a great day. This is Kyle Krueger, people. Have a great day.
Stay nerdy, folks.